Today we've got Luke Leaman, who is the founder of the company Muscle Nerds, which is a fantastic online resource for coaches and trainers looking to upskill, which offers seminars, mentoring, amongst many other things. Luke is an incredible resource of information pertaining to nutrition, coaching, and training. I first came across Luke's work through the Poliquin group many years ago, where he was helping teach there. And what I love about Luke's content is his use of humour and not being afraid to make enemies through speaking his mind. So welcome to the podcast, Luke.
That's probably the best intro I've ever had, actually. Not afraid to make enemies. Yeah, so that's one of the things we try not to do, but it's really easy in this industry when people are, basically talking false science and things and trying to just wow people with, bullshit. So it's not that hard of a thing to do. So, but yeah, so this is cool. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it was great to have you on. It was easy to connect. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the interview, can you just give us a little bit of a history, who Luke is and how you got started in the industry, and then I guess the natural evolution of what you're currently focused on?
Yeah, so you know what? It started way back when I was a little kid. Growing up in Texas, everything's about Texas football, and so we start lifting weights when we were really little, and it was 1984, so I'm pretty old, and I kind of got into it after watching Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of his movies. So I saw that and I was like, man, that guy's the man. And I kind of made an off the cuff comment to my parents saying, yeah, man, I want to do that. I want to bodybuild and that type of thing. So they thought it would be funny to get me a weight set, and I just started lifting weights and it never stopped. And here we are 40 years later. So I started kind of doing that when I was a kid. And then kept doing that, and in high school started the powerlifting team at my high school, and so I got into powerlifting for a while, and always loved bodybuilding and all that type of thing, and started studying Charles Poliquin when I was about 14, and started saving up money, and finally was able to go out and actually meet the guy and start taking his courses, and I fell in love with the whole education thing and just the whole being in that environment and learning about stuff and how to do things better with a physique and with strength and all that, and the people that I was meeting. And that's kind of how it all started. And I just never stopped, and went to Poliquin Group to work for them for about 10 years and left them a few years ago and started Muscle Nerds.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how did you get that sort of first step into the Poliquin Group? Obviously, you're someone who's well-read and into what he does. But I guess how did you get that first initial start?
Yeah, well, you know what? I went to the seminars, and I think it was 2007. It was May of 2007. I went to Chicago, and I got my PICP level 1 and my first biosignature seminar. And, Charles walks in the room and we're all like, holy shit, there's Charles Poliquin and all that, It was one of those like life-changing things where this is a guy you've read about since you were, basically for half your life. And now here he walks in and he's got these fucking forearms that are bigger than your head. And you're going, oh my God, it's Charles. Holy shit. And then he pulls you in front and he grabs your love handle and he goes, oh my God, you're fat. And I'm like, oh shit. So that... Sorry, I just lost you. I just lost my earpiece.
Oh, good.
I went to that and I was like, man, this is cool. This is what I'd never been outside of Texas before. So when I went to it, I'm like, man, this is cool. These are my type of people. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I started saving up again, and I went to my level 2, and then I begged my parents to loan me some cash so I could do a bunch of other courses. And after 5 or 6 courses, Charles walked up to me and he said, hey man, you look pretty keen. You look like you know what's going on. Do you want to come work for us? And then I started doing some assistant stuff with him, and eventually came on full time in 2013.
Yeah. And you were obviously coaching at the same time yourself with clients?
Yeah. So I was kind of in and out of the industry. So for a while I was training, and then I was only kind of doing online stuff. And then basically I kind of had it with the industry, and I left for a while and started doing things in the IT industry because I was a computer programmer, like originally, like that's what I was doing when I was a kid. And so I kind of went kind of in the IT and audiovisual field, that type of thing. And then I was just like, man, this is not for me. I'm going to go back into the training. And then Poliquin Group called me and said, hey, we're looking for another coach. Do you want to come on full time and stop doing the part-time thing? And I went, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So then I just packed all my shit up and I went to Rhode Island.
Yeah. And you obviously identified that like being more of a educator versus just a coach in the gym.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was always kind of in that role of wanting to help other trainers and saying, hey, maybe there's better ways of doing these things. This is what let's look at the research, and this is what the research says here and here, and this is maybe there's better ways of doing things. And yeah, so I was always a really good like coach, like face to face, and I love doing that type of stuff. But there's just not that many really good mentors in the industry, so I kind of gravitated towards that because of, like you said in the intro, the no bullshit type of policy. And there's a lot of people selling lots of bullshit these days, and that's the one thing I wanted to always fight against. So
yeah. Now, obviously, you've mentioned Poliquin. He's obviously someone who's shaped your career in the early beginnings. Who are some of the other mentors and guys that have sort of put you on your path and sort of created to where you are today?
Oh my God, there's so many. Like obviously Charles, as far as strength and conditioning goes, and the person who really got me interested in doing like looking at hormones and the way things really interact with the body was Charles. But there was also, a big heavy influence with Paul Chek. He was a big influencer. Dr. Brian Walsh, Dr. Ben House, Dr. Mike T. Nelson. And there's tons of guys that I still, to this day, the people that come to our courses and take education from us, what they have to realize is there are guys on that next level that I'm actually going to their courses and learning from them. So this whole thing, the kind of the learning and all that, it never stops, when you're really serious about it. You move to that next level, and you're just basically leveling up. It's like a video game,
Yeah. And I guess with that, who sort of, I guess, taught you how to learn? Because you're obviously someone who's very well read in terms of research, but also obviously connected to the industry. Is there someone sort of that you learnt off and go, okay, I like how that guy is acquiring his knowledge and he's sort of deciphering, the bad science from the good science? Was there someone that comes to mind with that?
You know what? That's a good question, and I don't know if I can actually answer that because most of the people that I learned from, they're all like no bullshit type of people, and they don't really buy into the pseudoscience and the woo-woo stuff and all that. But I guess if I'm going to have to give you an answer, and I don't give her enough credit, it would probably be my mom.
Okay.
So like education was like a huge thing with my parents, especially with my mother. And man, looking back at it, like if my mom hadn't, like my mom taught my sister and I how to read when we were like 3, so like reading and searching for the truth and that type of thing, and being a champion for the truth was always something that we were taught from a very young age. And I've always carried that since then, so.
Yeah.
So
and she obviously taught you, to question stuff as well, because that's a big part of, I guess, what you do is to, not just to learn, but to question why something's taking place.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like one of the what I feel is probably my best attribute that I got from my mother is being very stubborn and always searching for the truth, and being someone who never backs away from a debate or an argument. If I think that somebody's throwing out some bullshit, and it can be a huge character flaw, but it's also a huge positive bonus if you know how to kind of harness it and move it in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I think my wife would probably not say the opposite of what I'm telling you, but it's been a huge driving force for me, because for me, the truth is all that really matters.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's obviously been a big thing for you, I guess, online, as it creates a little bit of a stir online, because you'll call out someone and you'll say, that, and I think that's probably part of the reason for I guess your success and in Muscle Nerds, creating sort of that I guess buy-in from people and seeing that you're able to sort of question those people.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like I sit back and I say, okay, if I say something stupid, I absolutely 100% want people to call me out. So
yeah.
It doesn't make you the most popular person in fitness when you're calling people out. And I try not to put names to anything. And anytime we say something about something that someone's doing anonymously, we get like 8,000 emails of hate mail of somebody thinking it's about them, but it's probably not. If you think it's about you, it's probably not.
Yeah.
But if you think it is, then maybe you should start thinking about the things you're doing. But yeah, it's a weird position to be in, because I didn't really want that, but
yeah,
I hate the drama. Sometimes I secretly love it, but for the most part, I hate it, and I don't really want it, but it's kind of part of the job. And when you're in the position that we're in, where you are, okay, we are teaching young coaches how they need to be looking at science and searching out for the answers and all that, and how they need to be how they need to be conducting themselves. And if they're going to be idiots about things and say things that aren't true, then they're probably going to expect to be called out. And that's not a bad thing, because if we don't call each other out, then we're never going to find where the truth actually lies,
Yeah.
So we're huge into having discourse with people. That's totally fine, and debating. And there's been a lot of times where, I've gotten on my soapbox and preached something, and somebody showed me where I was wrong, and I had to kind of go out in public and say, hey, I was wrong. So this is what the actual truth is. And so, we're not above criticism. Nobody is, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, and that's obviously how you learn as well. If you make a big mistake, that's obviously going to be a powerful teacher.
Oh, huge. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how we learn, right? So you say, hey, this is what I believe, and someone else says, well, actually, this is the way it really works. And then you go, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm not going to teach that anymore. That's how it should be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Can you just speak about Muscle Nerds and sort of how it was created and how it's become, I guess, a positive online community for coaches to go, and the resource that you provide?
Yeah, so a few years ago, I was working for Poliquin Group, and I had met Zoe in Sydney, and we were talking, and she decided to fly over, and we kind of went on a tour of the eastern and central United States, and we got to a point where I went back to Poliquin Group, and unbeknownst to me, I was getting let go, and I had no idea. And so I showed up, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're letting you go," and I'm like, okay, cool. Why? And they didn't really give me a reason why. So I was like, okay, fine. Okay, cool. So now I don't have a job. Zoe doesn't have a job. We're screwed. And so the whole Muscle Nerds thing had been on the back burner for a while. So I finally said, all right, screw it. I'm just going to announce this and see what happens. And it's just been freaking bananas ever since. So
yeah,
we spent a good 2 years like being completely reactive, not knowing what was going on, kind of chasing our tails. We didn't know anything about business. So we've kind of figured that out, and it's now in like the third year we've started to actually like find our footing and actually realize what the hell we're doing. So
yeah,
it's been a huge learning experience,
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess what's the ultimate goal for Muscle Nerds? What's the bigger picture?
That's a good question. I don't really know. Because you say, okay, so I'll be happy if the business does this. And then you achieve that a year later and you're like, okay, so we've done that. All right. So you kind of move the goalpost, right?
Yeah.
And you move it a little further away and you're like, okay, in the next 5 years, I want to be there. And then the next year you hit it and you're like, oh, well, shit, that happened faster than I thought. So you just keep moving the goalposts. I guess, for me, I want to build something that matters. I want to build something that has never been done before. I want to build something where there's a community. Like I want to have I want to be like the CrossFit of education. Yeah. And by that, people love or they hate CrossFit, but it's undeniable what CrossFit has built as far as a community and like people that are super linked in all around the world. And that's what I want. I want people to come to our courses and like feel like they're in a family environment and they can ask anything and we're having a good time and we do this, and then we're having events and it's really fun. Like I just want to have fun, Yeah. So for me, I want to I want Muscle Nerds to be that thing, that entity where people go, I'm proud to be a part of this. Like this is the type of company that I'm proud to go to their courses and to say that I'm a Muscle Nerds certified coach and it actually means something and they actually give a shit about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great answer, great message. I've heard you speak before about, I guess, your job as an educator is making sure that coaches understand the responsibility that they have to make their clients better and to put, I guess, their health back into the industry. I guess all too often on social media, we see those 12-week body transformation, but we know, obviously health is in it for the long haul. What, I guess, just it's a bit of a long-winded question, but what, I guess, are you hoping to get your coaches to think about overall in terms of the big picture?
Oh man, that's a great question. So at the end of the day, like the one thing that's not really sexy and the one thing that doesn't really sell well is health, right? So so let's say you come to me and your bloods, like your labs, look like completely atrocious. And I fix all your labs and I put a before and after picture of your cholesterol and all your other markers. And like, I'm looking at this like, this is great. But most people are going to look at it and be like, what do I give a fuck? So then they see a picture of like somebody that went from like, being fat to dick skin lean in 12 weeks. And that resonates with people because we're, visual animals. And we look at that stuff and we're like, oh, well, that's cool. So what I really want for the industry is for people to stop basing their self-worth on having fucking an 8-pack abs, right? So, when this is what I've learned as I've aged is like when I was in my 20s, all I cared about was having veins on my abs and getting laid and bench pressing 500 pounds and all that. Now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, I really don't even give a shit about that stuff anymore. And so what I want to do is like tell these young trainers, like, no one gives a shit about your glutes or your abs or this or that. What people are going to remember is the type of person you are, right? And how you treated other people. So you're going to be able to do that much better if you keep yourself healthy. And I can tell you right now, when you get older, like all you want to do is feel good and get 8 hours of sleep a night. Like that's the most important thing to you at that point is I just want to sleep 8 hours a night and I don't want anything in my body to hurt anymore. Right. So in that scheme of people wanting 8-pack abs and they want to have veins in their elbows and all that, like people are completely fucking destroying themselves trying to get there. You don't really have to do that. If you would just back off a little bit and do things in a more scientific manner and something that makes more sense, you could just get your health in order. And guess what happens when you're healthy? Your body doesn't really want to be fat. So it just kind of falls off you, And speaking of science, that's a completely unscientific way of saying it, but it really is true. If you get your body working correctly, your body does not really want to be fat. And it will basically just melt off you,
Yeah. And I guess that it comes down to the human element as well. I've read some of the stuff you talk about before. Can you just talk about, I guess, I'm not sure what whether you teach this in your courses as well, but I guess the coaching and how to get people to make a shift with their mindset, not just from a physiological and a science based standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. And it actually is something that we teach, and we actually have a course that revolves around that whole concept.
Yeah.
So the course that we do, and we currently only do it in Australia and New Zealand because it's kind of a cooperative that we do with some trainers that we know in New Zealand, and it's an entire course based on basically the science of self-sabotage, like why your clients can't get their shit in order, like why your client wants to get lean, but why are they always binging? Why are they always doing things that are opposite of what they need to be doing to get their health back in order? And what we found is in a lot of cases, it's not really them, it's like early childhood traumas, or it's like adolescent traumas, or even like adulthood traumas that's causing them to do this stuff. So it could be something as simple as, your dad calling you a fat ass when you're a kid. And that could get stuck in your brain. And now that's who you identify with. And so anytime you ever start leaning out, you identify with being overweight because of something your parents said. So then you start overeating and binging because that's who you identify with, right? So in this course, it's kind of like a professional and a personal development course. And everybody that comes to it, they end up like completely like breaking down and crying, and I'm crying, and Zoe's crying, and Isaac's crying, everybody's fucking crying, and it's such a super powerful course, and it's hard for me to actually explain what happens in it because I don't really understand what's happening. So but everyone comes to it, and you inevitably end up talking about all the fucked up shit in your life, which if you're a trainer, you're fucked up. Like there's not a single personal trainer on the face of this planet that isn't fucked up. So you end up coming to this and kind of figuring out, wow, I'm more fucked up than I thought. So let me think about how fucked up my clients are. Maybe I shouldn't be such an asshole when I'm asking them to do certain things. And maybe this is why they're fucking up all the time, because it's something that's outside of my scope of reference. And maybe I need to look at somebody that can probably help them with stuff that's going on, like getting them with a counselor or getting them with a, psychologist or whatever they need to kind of work through that type of stuff,
Yeah. And I guess that comes down to like, needs analysis. You got to problem solve, and then know as a coach when to refer out to someone else when it's above your I guess duty of care.
Yeah, what I call it is it's above your pay grade, right? So, and you see this all the time. Like, you see coaches that they're not happy just teaching exercise. Now they want to be a psychologist, and they want to be a functional medicine doctor, and they want to perform open heart surgery. And now they can cure your fucking asthma and all this other stuff. And it's like, bro, like you've got enough shit on your plate to teach people how to exercise correctly, right? So, and like it's kind of in my world where I'm not only a trainer, but I'm also a nutritionist. Like I'm a sports nutritionist. So it's like, I get people that they're working with other coaches and they come to me and I'm like, oh, well, this is why you're injured all the time and why you have no energy. And this is why, you're not doing well in your sport because you're not fucking eating. You're eating like a physique athlete instead of eating like a field athlete or whatever. So the trainers have to understand you've got to stay in your scope of knowledge, right? So it would be crazy if my client came to me and said, yeah, I've got plaquing in my heart. You think you could run a stent? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, cool. We can do that. Let me book you in, on Thursday, and we're gonna run a stent, or maybe we'll do some fucking open heart surgery. Cool, awesome. Like that sounds so incredibly ludicrous, But that is the thinking behind a lot of coaches in our industry. Is they're like, well, I can do it all. I don't need to send you to a proctologist. I'll just put my finger up your ass and I'll see what's going on with your prostate. Cool. It's like, fuck, man, come on.
Yeah, well, I think that happens a lot because as if you go to a course on the weekend and they might be talking about certain things like cholesterol or and then the trainers or the coaches might have taken it out of context and they think that that they've got the solution because they know that if you take this supplement here you could potentially reduce the cholesterol, but it's there's a bigger picture, and obviously coaches need to I guess understand that.
No, and you're absolutely right. What we need to have we need to create a course that teaches context. Like, okay, guys, so we're going to have a 2-day seminar on how to understand context and understand, like, I'm going to show you some lab values. I'm going to explain to you what's going on, but you have to keep it in context of what you can actually say and not say to your client and when you need to refer out, right?
Yeah.
So, because what happens is, and this is why I don't teach labs. Like I don't teach organic acids. I don't teach bloods. I don't teach any of this stuff because trainers can't be responsible to take the information for what it is. So when we actually teach you a lab value, like let's say glucose, right? Fasted glucose or hemoglobin A1C or fructosamine or whatever, I'm going to teach you this number, and this is why it's relevant. And this is how you actually use the information. So then the coach goes home and he goes to his client and he goes, hey, your fasting blood sugar is 5.8. I was at this seminar on the weekend and they said that at 5.8, you're going to get diabetes and you should take blah, 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 and your doctor's a fucking moron. And then I'm over here slapping myself in the face going, oh, that's not what I taught you. Like, no, please stop. Like, and this is why we don't talk a lot about bloods or a lot about medicine when we talk to coaches, because they can't be responsible with the information.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I've heard you talk about it before as, I guess the context of certain things, and people might read somewhere that diet soda or diet soft drink is bad, and certain junk foods should be eliminated from diets altogether. But obviously this can lead to behaviors from the clients, which we spoke about before, as like that sort of binging cycle where you'll abstain for a long period of time, and then after your 6 or 12 weeks they go crazy on the foods that you've taken away. I guess how do you approach that in the real world scenario, like as a coach, but also as teaching your students?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, if you give someone something that's really, really restrictive, they're inevitably, sooner or later, it's going to backfire, right? And it's going to go really bad. So it's really like kind of common practice in our industry to basically just starve people and give them a shit ton of work. And that's not really what you want to do. And what you end up doing when you do that is you give people a horrible relationship with food, and they don't understand, like the clients don't understand what nutrition even is. And so what you should be doing is kind of feeding them for the activity. So if I'm going to give you, 5 hours of weightlifting, I need to fuel that 5 hours of weightlifting, okay, which is what most people don't do. And so if you don't feed them for that, then eventually their brain is going to go, you know what? I really need energy, so screw you. I'm going to eat whatever I can find to try to get that energy back, and they end up binging, and they end up binging on things like super sugary and savory food. So they're searching for things with a lot of calories, and then they can't control themselves. So you end up creating all of these clients that they're really good Monday through Friday, and on the weekends they just go crazy. And you're looking at their food log and you're like, wow, Monday through Friday, you're doing really, really well. I don't understand why you can't lose weight. And they're like, I know. And then you're like, okay, let's talk about your weekend, because we're friends on Snapchat and Instagram, and I saw all the shit you got into this weekend. So why don't we talk about that fucking pizza you ate? Let's talk about like the two fucking liters of booze you drank, and let's talk about all this stuff that's not actually in your food log. And then your client's like, oh yeah, well, you know what? Well, red wine doesn't have fat or carbs, so it's like free calories, right? And you're like, yeah, no, that's not how it fucking works. So it's a lot better to just feed your athletes and give them just enough of a caloric deficit to get them moving in the right direction, and then play the long game. You know, I would so much rather have a client, you know, dieting for 6 months on a 10% caloric reduction than to put them on a 30 or 40% caloric reduction for a 12-week transformation, and then find out like every 5 or 6 days they're going on these massive binges, which is not fucking it's not healthy, you know? So I would rather take longer and do it in a healthy manner and teach my clients how to make a sustainable lifestyle change than to say, hey, we're going to fucking totally crash your shit. You're going to feel awful, but you're going to look amazing. Like that, something about that just doesn't resonate with me anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of, I guess, the fitness competitors, bodybuilders and bikini athletes. You see them go on these, you know, restrictive diets for, you know, 3-4 months at a time, and then they get their competition, and then they're like binging on donuts and pizza for 2 weeks, and not necessarily it's the healthiest relationship to food at all.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and it's like, you know, you look at their Instagram and all they're doing is talking about what foods they're going to binge on once they get done with their contest. Like, it shouldn't be like that. Like bodybuilding, if you look at in history, bodybuilding's supposed to be like a really healthy pursuit, and it's gotten to a point where there's nothing healthy about it at all, and it's all about deprivation and how much can you suffer and drugs and all this other stuff, you know. And so then you get these girls that have completely wrecked their metabolisms by, you know, taking, you know, way too low calories, way too much training. Then they add drugs in when that doesn't work, and then by the time they binge, their metabolism is so far in the shitter that they can't have 700 calories without getting fat. And so then they binge, and they're massively overeating for weeks, and they put on like 10 or 15 kilos, and then it doesn't matter what they do, they can't take it off. And they're like, I don't understand. Like, I'm eating 700 calories a day, and I'm doing, you know, 3 hours of training a day, and this fat won't go away. And I'm like, yeah, your body's not stupid. It's like, yeah, we're not going to fall for that again. Like, yeah, you know, screw you.
Yeah. What would your approach be? I mean, other than telling them not to do a bikini competition, what would your approach be, I guess, for a healthy outcome? I mean, it's, you know, you're obviously pushing the limits to the body in terms of getting the body fat, in particular, obviously with females down to single digits is going to be a huge stress on the body. But I guess my answer is there, I guess, a healthier way that you would advise someone?
Yeah. And so, okay, two parts to this, right? Number one, there's not really anything like, can you do a bikini show and do it like in a healthy manner? Absolutely. Right. So we can't really, coming off the back end of that, like, you can do these physique shows and you can do them and maintain your health, but only if you play the long game and understand that you're doing this for a long period of time. Now, on the other side of that, can someone in like a general population person get really, really lean and create a body that they really, really like and a physique they like, but also create optimal health? Absolutely. But again, it's about taking things slow and steady and doing it over a long period of time, and not doing it at the last minute when you're like, whoa, I'm going to fucking Mexico in 3 weeks. I need to be lean and I've got 20 fucking pounds to lose. I'm going to do it in 3 weeks. Like, that's not the right mentality. What it should be is like, okay, cool. I've got some weight I need to lose. I'm going to create a game plan over the next 12 months, and I'm going to chip away at it so that I can still enjoy life and still, you know, go out with my friends and still do this and that and the other. But I can also slowly get my body where I'm comfortable, you know, on the beach, or I'm comfortable being naked, or whatever it is, whatever it is that you're assigning to your physique, but or your health. It's like people. This day and age, people want things so fast. They want to be insta famous, and they want insta, credibility or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing different with physiology now than there was 20 years ago. It still takes time to get where you want to be. Yeah. Create a game plan and be very consistent over a long period of time. And then guess what? You can be healthy and look awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you say over a long period of time, what sort of time frame?
I mean, it depends on the person. So I would say for most guys, you could probably lose about 1% of your body weight a week every 7 or 8 days. That's probably in the good ballpark. For most girls, you're looking at probably about 60% of that. Unfortunately, the girls, they don't have the same hormones that guys do that help them to lose weight that much faster. But I would say probably girls, let's say a girl that's 70 kilos and she wants to drop 5 kilos. She's probably looking at around 10 to 12 weeks to do it in a safe manner, which is sustainable, and then she can keep that long term and without it being a pain in the ass. A guy can probably do it. 100-kilo guy, he could probably lose about 1 kilo a week for 6-7 weeks, and then that's going to start to drop really drastically, probably 600-700 grams a week. Mm-hmm. But when we start talking about this, we're talking about like how many grams a week and how many grams a day, and that's how people need to start thinking about it, instead of thinking like, hey, I need to drop 20 kilos. I'm going to do this in 12 weeks. Not a good plan.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some misconceptions? I've heard you speak in another podcast around nutrition, and in particular on this other podcast, the host was talking about fruit makes you fat. Can you just talk about some, I guess, popular things that get pushed around on the internet and forums that necessarily aren't true at all?
Oh man, you're going to get me riled up now about the fruit thing. Fruit makes you fat and all that. And that's one of those things that's been around for so long. I remember there being an article on in testosterone magazines like tmag.com in like 1996 or something. I think I was like 18. If you're going to do a bodybuilding show, you can't eat fruit. Fruit will make you fat. It's the fructose and blah, blah, blah. And it's absolutely untrue. So when you look at everything biochemically, it's not a big deal, like the fructose stuff. So especially fruit, because most fruit that you're going to be eating doesn't have a ton of fructose in it anyway. So if you look at like a banana's got, medium-sized banana's got what, 20, 25, 26 grams of carbs. And when you look at how much fructose that is, it's really only about 5 or 6 grams. And when you start digging through the research, it's pretty inconclusive about like what's the lowest threshold of fructose you can have before it starts like making you fat. And you'll find numbers anywhere from like 30 up to 150 grams of fructose, right? And that's like in big bolus dosages. So if I think about bananas, so there's 5 or 6 grams of fructose in a banana. I can't tell you the last time I ate like 6 bananas in one sitting, and that's realistically what it would take to actually be a problem. Yeah. And for most people, that's not a big deal. Even if you look at fruitarians who only eat fruit, you don't see a lot of big, fat, obese fruitarians because they don't need a lot of calories. And at the end of the day, the calories are what matters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I guess with trends of like the whole keto movement of people, claiming that, it's the answer to fat loss. I guess it comes down to calories. You're restricting certain food groups out of your diet completely. And I guess you get people subscribing to one way of eating, whether it's paleo, whether it's ketogenic diet, whether it's veganism or whatever it is. I guess the answer is not always that sort of one-eyed approach.
Yeah, it's all the isms, right? Veganism, paleoism,
Yeah.
whatever. The problem with nutrition is it's a lot like religion, right? Everybody has their god that they worship, whether that's the god of ketones or the god of vegetables or whatever. And they're all right for a lot of reasons, but they're also all wrong for a lot of reasons. And so we have to look at everything. It's what we talked about earlier with talking about context, right? So you really want to look at the context of what it is. So are there times where a ketogenic diet might be really good? Yeah, there might be. Like, let's say you've got fatty liver. Maybe you got fatty liver, right? And the doctor says, oh, you got to get rid of this fatty liver. You say, okay, cool. I could get on ketones. Where do we make ketones? In the liver. Okay, what do we make it from? Fat. Oh, okay. So if we want to take a fatty liver and try to make it non-fatty, then we could probably assume that doing a ketogenic diet would defat your liver by breaking down that fat to make ketones, right? Now, we don't really know that, but it makes sense. If you love animals, be a vegan, whatever. But what people have to understand is you just got to find the right diet that works well for you. What diet do you eat that you feel the best on? I did a vegan diet for 3 weeks just to see kind of what my clients go through. And not only was it vegan, it was keto vegan. So it was like lot of coconut oil, a tiny bit of beans, and a shit ton of fucking vegan protein powder, which tastes like shit, but it works. And I actually felt amazing. And Zoe, after like a week of it, she thought I was crazy. And she looks at me and she goes, wow, you look really good. Like your skin looks good. And I'm like, yeah, but I want some meat really fucking bad. Yeah. And so I did it for a few weeks, and it was a good experience, but it's not something I could do long term. So, people need to understand, like, stop pushing your fucking nutritional religion on people and let people eat the way they fucking want to eat. There is no best way of eating. The best way of eating is eat some food. How do you feel? I feel great. Awesome. Keep eating like that. How do you feel? I feel like shit. Don't eat that shit anymore. Cool. It's as simple as that,
Yeah. And I guess bring it back to principles and fundamentals. Would you, I guess, look at someone's biomarkers on a certain diet and then say to them, okay, well, you're eating this certain way, but, your HDL cholesterol's through the roof, your C-reactive protein's up. Is that something you'd I guess, look at with a client and with your coaches as well?
You could, but you have to. Again, let's go back to context. Like, who are we talking to? Are we talking to a nutritionist? From a nutritionist perspective of what they can do, or are we talking about like personal trainers, right? So, you've got 10% of the population with what is it, the ApoE44 gene polymorphism, where if they eat high fat, their cholesterol is going to go up, and that's like 10% of the population. So if I'm looking at someone's labs and I say, oh, wow, your fucking cholesterol is really atrocious. What are you eating? Okay, yeah, we're going to probably do the opposite of what you're doing right now. It's that type of stuff, right? So, and not everyone has access to labs, and not everybody's willing to do it. And most trainers and most nutritionists can't read labs correctly anyways. So, I don't really base things off of that. What I basically do is if you hire me for your nutrition, I say, okay, this is what your weight's at. This is where you want to be. This is the way you want to look. This is how much you're training a week. This is how much energy I think you should be eating a week. So your food volume in calories is here. So based on your build and kind of your ancestry and all that, we're probably going to do, more carbs or less carbs or whatever, and this is where we're going to set our protein and that type of thing. Now let's track your food over a couple of weeks, and then I look at it and I say, okay, how do you feel? Oh, I haven't pooped in 2 weeks. Okay, that's not a good thing. Let's look at your diet. Oh, I see you're eating this. Why don't we switch a couple of these things out and let's see if you start pooping again? And then, we revisit it in a couple of weeks and they're like, oh yeah, I'm pooping like 5 times a day. Awesome. So it's when you look at like nutritional consulting and what you tell people is you just got to ask how they feel, and you look at it, and if they've got bloods, awesome. Like, we can look at bloods and we can make things really fancy, but for the most part, people don't need fancy. They need consistency, and you don't have to be you don't have to be fancy to get consistency. You just got to encourage them to be really, really strict and eat the things they're supposed to be eating, which is a huge part of the battle.
Yeah, and so you wouldn't necessarily go down the path, or if you're working with a functional medical doctor, you wouldn't go down the path of food intolerance testing and that side of things?
No.
No.
You know what? I hate food intolerance testing. I think I don't want to say that it's completely pointless, but I am going to say this, that like the food intolerance testing is incredibly inconsistent. You could, I know, I'm not going to say any names of who have done this since we're on a podcast, but yeah. I have friends that are strength and conditioning coaches, and they train a lot of pro athletes. And in a lot of cases, they've taken 3 samples from an athlete, put 3 different names on it, sent it in, and got 3 different fucking reports. And it was the same athlete. Yeah. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, why am I going to charge my client $500 to run this expensive testing when the testing isn't even that good? Like, it's nothing that we can't accomplish with a good elimination diet, which doesn't cost them anything but like 5 minutes. So I can set you down and I can say, all right, cool. What are the like, tell me all the major proteins you eat a week. Tell me all of the major, vegetables and fruits and all that, and what fat you eat. And the protein, you're going to get the same thing, like beef, chicken, eggs. That's going to be like your main ones, right? Yeah. So depending on who you're talking to, you might get a few different things. Okay, so we're not going to eat those for the next like 3 weeks. We're going to instead eat turkey, more fish, prawns, or whatever. So we're going to give them alternates to eat, and we're going to eliminate the stuff that they eat all the time, because we're going to assume that they probably have an issue with some of that food. So we'll just get rid of it, right? So I don't need you to pay me $500. I don't need to interpret any fancy testing, an IgG panel or MRT or any of that stuff. I'm just going to tell you, don't eat the shit you usually eat, and let's give you a different menu. And then we eat that for 3 weeks. How do you feel? Oh, fuck, I feel amazing. All right, cool. Are you bloated? No, all my bloat's gone away. I'm not gassy and that type of stuff. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. Let's add some of those foods back in. The next day, they're like, oh my God, I'm bloated, and I just farted, and all the paint started peeling off the walls, and my hair fell out. And I'm like, okay, don't eat that again. Let's pull that back out, So people try to overcomplicate things, and this industry is so about just like ripping people off and making money. It's like, just keep shit simple until it needs to be complex. Like, I run 0 labs on people unless we get to the 4-month mark and something's not working. If I can't fix it in 4 months off symptoms, now we're going to run tests, because there's going to be something that only a test is going to show us at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a powerful message that I guess coaches and people need to get is that you don't have to start with looking at those biomarkers. You can just make it completely uncomplicated, and using the person's feedback is often just more powerful. And as we talked about before, that food panels aren't necessarily the most reliable things in the world. In terms of what are your non-negotiables in terms of the fundamentals that when you get someone and they say, okay, I want you to coach me, what I heard you've talked about before in terms of you've got a huge question section where they have to, fill in a log of, what they've done in the past, and obviously food recall and that sort of stuff. What just, I guess, to summarize, what are the key areas that you're looking at in that questions section that you see when you see a new client?
Okay, so like some of the stuff we're looking for is probably what's the most important thing to their progress other than training, which is how are you sleeping, right? Are you sleeping okay? How many hours? At what time do you get into bed? What time do you wake up? Do you need an alarm clock to wake up, or do you just wake up naturally? Do you wake up a bunch of times to pee? Like, that's huge. We also let's look at a dietary recall. But after 20 years of this, I'm hesitant to take people's word for their dietary recall, because they usually give you the 2 best days of the week, and they don't tell you about all the other shit that they don't want you to know about, like all the binging and all that stuff. We want to know, like we do we do two different digestive and assimilation questionnaires. And the reason is because we normally will see stuff on one that was a negative, but then we'll see it a positive on the other one. So if you've ever done like the, what is the Briggs-Myers, like personality testing, all that type of stuff. And you're like, fuck, they've asked me the same question like 400 times, but they ask it in a different way every time. That's kind of how our digestive questionnaires go. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like when you look at food is not really technically fuel. It's pre-fuel. Yeah. The body does not run on carbohydrates. The body doesn't run on sugar. It doesn't run on fat. It doesn't run on amino acids. It's what that stuff is broken down into, which is what the body actually truly runs on. And so you have to start looking at, okay, here's the calories, here's the macros. Is that stuff actually getting into circulation appropriately? Cool. Okay, that's good. Now, is that stuff actually being turned into things that my body can use chemically to make energy? Yes, no, maybe. So we need to figure out what's going on there. So that there's all the stuff that we ask revolves around basically what's on your plate. Okay. How are you chewing it? How are you digesting it? How are you assimilating it? And is it actually getting turned into usable energy? And then are you eliminating it by, pooping and that type of thing? So that's basically our questionnaires revolve around pooping, know?
Yeah. So. That's awesome. So you mentioned before the Myers-Briggs, is in terms of working with people, I guess compliance is a huge part of it, getting people to do what is going to make them healthier and better in the long term. Is there any approach that you use to get, I guess, better compliance? And I guess we talked about it before in terms of habits and not, taking things away from them necessarily that they're going to force them into a binge cycle. Is there, I guess, a communication style or a coaching style that you assess for the individual?
Not really. A lot of people do the Braverman test and all that. I think it's all a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. I think the closest thing to figuring that out is probably Christian Thibodeau's. He has a seminar that you take a really long test. It's kind of like the Briggs-Myers, and it classifies you in like 3 different categories, and there's some subcategories and things. I think he probably has the closest thing that we're going to have at this time to like figuring out where someone needs to be as far as a coaching perspective, but also in like what rep ranges you're going to, like more, and like what type of lifting, whether it's explosive or drop sets or whatever. And then also like food and stuff like that. But honestly, like coaching is an art, man. You've got all the science, but there's nothing that beats experience. So you learn over time that there's dozens and dozens of different types of personalities that you're looking at, and you have to figure out what makes each of those tick. That way you can get those clients to move in the positive direction you're moving them towards. But the problem is like spending 2 decades trying to figure all that shit out. And then also being honest with yourself of you don't have to train everybody. Like there's going to be some personalities that just don't agree with you. Like I have a personality that it's not for everybody. You either really love me or really hate me, and I'm okay with that, and you should be okay with that too. When I train somebody, they know what the deal is. I'm fucking daddy. What I say goes, and if you can't do what I tell you to do, then I don't need to fucking train you. I'm going to, if you can't follow daddy's rules and that type of thing, then daddy will find you someone else to train with that has a different personality style, and that's the way it goes, So I think that a lot of that, a large part of that's really, really on the coach's shoulders to kind of look at himself, be honest with himself, which a lot of us have a problem doing, and saying, well, maybe I'm not the type of person that needs to train everyone. So I need to really make a niche market of these are the types of people that I want to train, and I enjoy training, and they enjoy training with me. And then I need to refer anyone else to someone else that like really vibes with that type of personality trait. because you'll just bash your head in the wall for ages. Like, why can't these people get their shit together? And sometimes it's way out of your wheelhouse. It's something you need to see a counselor for, or, part of it's like, sometimes if you're a real dick, your clients are going to fucking eat cake just to spite you, So
Exactly.
So, you're trying to help your client, and you're like, hey, you fucking retard, why can't you fucking eat the way I tell you to? And they're like, I'm fucking eating this cake because you're a dick and I hate your guts, and that type of thing. So you're probably not a good fit for those types of people.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a powerful message. You can't fix everyone, and to think that you can, you're sort of, I guess, deluded. And now, obviously, you learn that, for being in the industry for 2 decades. Now, obviously, being a coach and being an educator, obviously, there's been some mistakes that you would have made in the past. Is there any sort of big pivotal things that I guess you think of and think, shit, why the hell was I doing that? But obviously, you learnt from that. Is there anything that comes to mind with that?
Oh, Christ, where do I start? Yeah. So the number one thing is demonizing exercises and thinking that things are stupid. So I posted on Facebook the other day. It was a reshare of something I shared like a year ago. And my friend Dr. Mike T. Nelson had posted something last year saying, you know what? If my client thought that standing on an upside down Bosu ball, doing single arm like Zotman curls or some shit like that while, singing Dixie or whatever, if they thought that was the best fucking exercise in the world, guess what? I would let them do it, because in their mind, they're going to give it 100% effort, and that's going to actually get them results. And I really like that statement he made really like hit a chord with me, because in 2013, I was in a seminar with Dr. Robert Sapolsky, who wrote Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And he's the guy's a phenomenal guy. He's a freaking ridiculous brainiac genius. And he was talking in front of 300 strength conditioning coaches, and he did a whole 90-minute talk about stress and stress response and that type of thing. And somebody asked him what the best exercise was, and he goes, I think that the best exercise for people is the exercise that they enjoy doing. And I looked at him and I went, wow, fuck, what a dick I've been, because I kind of grew up in that era of, if you can't fix it with squats and fish oil, you're probably going to die type stuff. So, so then I thought back about like all the people over the previous 15 years, like, wow, all the people I made them squat because I like to squat. And I think everyone should have to squat, but they didn't actually enjoy squatting. Like, what a dick I've been to make people do exercises that, for whatever reason, dogmatically, I think they're the best, but they're not really the best for everyone, and not everyone enjoys it. And what I should have been doing was creating an environment where people are having fun and having joy in their training and getting results, so that we're all happy, and I'm providing a service, which is what they're paying for, that they actually want to do, right? So a lot of it, like the majority of the first 75% of my career was, being an absolute alpha male silverback gorilla dickhead, douchebag, and making people do things that probably they didn't really have to do to get to the goals that they wanted, and just, that type of thing. And dangerous things in the whole, when I was teaching some of the stuff I was teaching from the company I won't name, and realizing that a lot of it was a whole heap of bullshit. And now that I'm actually gone and reading textbooks going, wow, I was really teaching some shit. And then trying to rectify that now. So yeah, just like every other trainer, there's growing pains, and you kind of learn by being a real dumbass. And then one day you wake up and you go, okay, wow, I actually kind of figure out what's going on, and I've got good mentors now. And wow, some of the stuff I was teaching back then or training people with probably was really fucking stupid, and I won't do that again. But I think that's indicative of any career, that you go into. Is there's going to be a point where you get into the career, you're amped up, you're learning, you start teaching stuff that's probably not correct, And then eventually 20 years later, you wake up and go, holy shit, I want to build a time machine to go back and kick my own ass because I probably should have been teaching that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's a great answer. And I think, we're all guilty of it. But it's something you only learn after you've made those mistakes, and then you meet the mentors that sort of open you up to I guess the bigger picture, and that is compliance and long-term overall health.
Yeah, 100%. And when you first get in, when you're 20, when you're 19 or 20 and you get in the industry, like your whole MO is having 6-pack abs or 8-pack abs, and you basically, all of your training cycles revolve around either holiday in Mexico or Ibiza or whatever, or going to seminars where you have to take your shirt off. Like I'm going to BioSig, so I'm gonna fucking diet down, so I'm like the leanest dude there. Like that's your whole like MO when you're in your 20s, and then you get in your 30s and you're like, okay, things start to your values start to change, and then you get in your 40s and they change massively. So it's the inevitable growth cycle of a personal trainer. When it's someone who's a lifelong trainer and somebody who this is like their career. Like, this wasn't a secondary thing for me. I didn't go into real estate and then decide, oh fuck this, I'm going to be a personal trainer and count reps. It was something that you've always wanted to do. So if you're a lifer like I am, you kind of go into it and you look back on every 10 years, you look back and go, wow, man, that stuff I was doing back then, what a fucking idiot I was, man. I really wish I could kick my own ass right now. But, but that's the way it is,
Yeah. But I think it was also being, some people sort of take the view that it's not as good, but being a generalist, and seeing, I guess, the health as a total, the sum of its all parts, versus, if you go see someone who's a specialist just in one specific area, they're going to get you good. Say it's a powerlifting coach, they're going to teach you powerlifting. They're not going to sit you on a BOSU ball or do yoga with you. And if you go to see a yoga teacher, it's the same thing. They're going to teach you yoga. But I guess for you, you've seen a bit of a bigger picture in your career.
Yeah, but I've also been fortunate enough to never limit myself. So, when I first started, I started lifting because I wanted to be a bodybuilder. And then I got into high school and I wanted to be a wrestler because I watched Vision Quest with, I think it's Matthew Modine. And I don't even know if you've ever seen that movie, but, it's like an early, 1980s movie, Vision Quest. And, the guy was a wrestler against all odds and all this stuff. But I went to the head coach in my high school and I said, hey, I want to start a wrestling team in our high school. And he was like, nobody in Texas wrestles. That's like the Midwest and the North. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, plus we're like a fucking really poor school and there's nobody we can actually wrestle against. So I tell you what, why don't we start powerlifting? And I went, yeah, what's that? And he goes, you'll get really fucking strong and jacked. And I go, cool, sign me up. So I started a powerlifting team in my high school when I was 14. And you get kind of locked into that. So I was a powerlifter and a bodybuilder and this and that. And, some people never leave that type of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that because we need people who specialize in things. Like there's people that I call on a daily basis to specialize in something that I'm not good at. So whether it's medicine or whether it's orthotics or whether it's powerlifting or whether it's weightlifting, I've got a list of people I call, and that's all they do. But for me, because because of my ADD, I can't just specialize in one little thing. I want to have my hand in a lot of different things, and for lack of a better word, being like the CrossFit of trainers, the CrossFit of educators. I know a little bit about a whole lot of stuff, and if I don't know a lot about one subject, I do know the right people. So let's get you with those people. So. There has to be an area where there's a general hub, like Muscle Nerds, where you're like, hey, I like this. Cool. Learn this from us. And then when you're ready, we'll send you to this other person to then get, further education in what you want to go into. But there's not a whole lot of that going on. Like most people in the industry, they specialize in like one or two different things. Whereas, like you said, we kind of have our fingers in a little bit of everything. And then we do have our specialties like physique and general population training and powerlifting. But there's a lot of stuff we don't do. Like if you came to me and you said, I have to get this guy ready for the Olympics in badminton, and you say, Luke, what do I do? And I go, don't ask me. Call. You know what I would do? I would call Stefan Kazolt over at Kilo and ask him, because that's the guy. If I had to train somebody for the Olympics, that's the dude I would call. Yeah. So it's good to have the generalized foundational stuff, but then you also have to have specialists that like they know their thing inside and out, and that's the guy you want to talk to if you have to, go that route.
Yeah, and I think that's great in terms of coaches need to understand that, referring out isn't a sign of necessarily weakness. It's a sign of, knowing, and, if you're someone who refers out and gets a result for someone, then they're going to come back to you and, ask you next time, because you've sort of built up that trust and reputation.
Yeah, 100%. Like referring out is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign that you're comfortable enough to admit that you don't know enough about a certain subject, so you're going to have to get some help. And in an industry where it's fueled by narcissism and egotistical guys and people that want to be alpha males and they fake want to be leaders, they don't want to ask for help. And that's the dumbest thing. Like I ask for help all the fucking time because, you can only know so much. And so I have just like Muscle Nerds is a mentor for a lot of people. I have mentors that I go to as well, because there's stuff I want to know that I don't know enough about. And bro, there's always going to be somebody that knows a lot more than you do at a certain subject. So trying to pretend like you're the expert is lunacy, because there's always a guy with a bigger dick that's going to be like, oh really? Let's talk about this. And then you're like, oh shit, my dick isn't as big as I thought it was. So it's I don't know if I can cuss and say that, but that's the thing. Everybody stands at the table, they pull their dicks out. Who's got the biggest dick? And I can tell you right now, in some of the circles where I get my information from, I got the freaking smallest penis there. So when you're dealing with people like Brian Walsh and Ben House and Mike Nelson and guys that have like 4 PhDs, they make you feel, not by intention, just because they're so brilliant, they make you feel like the smallest person in the fucking world. And that's the people you want to hang out with the most. Yeah.
Yeah. So being a peak performer, I'm sort of interested in what you do, I guess, personally on a daily basis to I guess, operate on a peak level with your business and just your own sort of training. So what does your, daily practice look like, napping, nutrition, and training routines yourself?
Okay. So, man, my schedule has not been normal since I started traveling and dealing with 800 time zones. So I try my best to go to bed at and it's going to make me sound like I'm a fucking grandpa. I try to get in bed at 8 or 8:30 at night. Yeah. Because I have a really poor sleeping pattern. So sometimes I can wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm awake and there's no going back to bed. So I don't try to fight it anymore. I just basically will wake up at 3:30 and go to the gym, and I'll knock that out, have some coffee, get some work done. So if I know that it's going to be one of those types of days, I just go to bed super fucking early. So I'm one of those weirdos that likes baths. So I'll get in the bath, I'll take a little bit of Phenibut and, I'll take some zinc and magnesium and some other stuff, and I'll do a little sleepy time tea, and get in the bathtub with a little soft music and read a little bit, and I'll sit in there for a while, and then then I'll get in bed. And what I'll typically do is I've got the Bose kind of noise canceling headphones, and I'll put on Spotify. I'll put on Delta waves. Yeah. So I'll put on Delta waves or some type of sleep type app, and that pretty much knocks me out. And then I'll wake up in the middle of that because I'm snoring and Zoe's punching me. And then I'll go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And when I get up, it's like wake up, check messages, check Facebook, check Instagram, check email, have some coffee, then go to the gym. And then when I get home, it's like we just get started and we just do our shit. So, but there's some supplements and stuff that I take that people might be interested in. But I do Thorne Basic Detox Nutrients. I take like, fuck it. If the people at Thorne found out about this, I take 24 of those a day.
Oh, wow.
Which is double the labeled dosage, but it gives for someone who's 100 kilos and it gives me all the stuff that I need, like at the right amounts. There's a brain supplement that I take that I really like called Qualia, Qualia. If you're from Qualia, please start sending me free shit because I'm tired of paying for it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously expensive, but it has like every nootropic known to man. And it is like I can't even function without it. Yeah. So those are two of the ones that I do, like a really good multivitamin, multimineral, and the Qualia. Those things I have to have, and coffee, mass amounts of coffee.
Yeah, yeah. And you just touch on your training. What is your sort of training, I guess, program generally look like? What sort of stuff are you into?
Yeah. So right now I'm kind of doing some functional hypertrophy. I'm at the point where I'm finally under 100 kilos for the first time since I was like 12. So I'm trying to stay under 100. And I know that sounds so weird because everyone else is trying to get bigger. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to get smaller. Like I actually want to be able to buy stuff off the rack and have it fit normally. Yeah. So, most of my, training right now revolves around getting my strength back, and also getting some of my anaerobic power back up, because last year I focused really heavily on getting my aerobic fitness back up. And so now I kind of went too far. So now my aerobic fitness is like fucking smashing it. Like I can go forever, but I can't produce power anymore. So now I have to kind of dial it back and bring more anaerobic and more power development back into it. So that's kind of that, and basically just trying to stay injury free. I've had some issues with my lower back and my scapula and stuff like that, and basically doing dumb shit in Snap City. So most of my training revolves around like getting into a squat and having it feel really awesome without like having any pain and suffering any consequences. Yeah.
You touched on before, obviously, with your bath routine and taking those sort of relaxing supplements, obviously to get yourself in more of a parasympathetic tone. Do you also practice any sort of like breathing drills or breathing mechanics or meditation, that sort of stuff?
I do, and I have in the past. It just depends. I've gotten to a point now where I really took my my least mode seriously. Like I'm like, okay, we kind of developed this least mode type of concept. So I really need to get into it and make sure that like I'm living it. So I've gotten to the point where I don't really need it anymore, because I spent so much time doing it last year, where I was doing a lot of aerobic work, aerobic intervals, and a lot of breathing and breathing mechanics, and getting treatment on my ribs so I could breathe better and that type of thing. And now like my waking heart rate is ridiculous. My blood pressure is ridiculous. Like everything's really good. So I don't actually have to consciously work at it anymore. Now, like what I'm doing now is consciously adding more beast mode back in, so that I can then, basically turn myself into a fucking machine again. Yeah. There was, for a while, I was a machine, but I was breaking all the time. So I got to a point where I was like, I'm fed up. I need to fix things first and then build myself back into the Terminator. And that's basically what I've done. So, doing a lot of the aerobic work, doing a lot of breathing, a lot of meditation, a lot of headspace. Yeah. I got all of my metrics looking really good now, to the point where I can pretty much abuse the hell out of myself, and my blood pressure never gets above like 113 over, 64. Yeah. So now it's like, it's all about, let's see how much volume I can keep pushing to myself to then make my metrics go in the direction I don't want them to go in, because then that shows me that I'm overreaching. And now, I can figure out what I need to do to actually progress and what I have to do, and then back off of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess those biomarkers that you're looking at HRV, blood pressure. Is that generally how you're sort of doing it?
Yeah, for me, the main one is blood pressure, because what I found is, like, with all the traveling and the time zones and the late nights and the work, like, that's the one that's most transient. That and your waking heart rate, like, those are the two that are gonna move the most, like the fastest. So, and those are the two that I feel like you have the most amount of control over. So, I'm looking at, like, blood pressure, and for us, the standard is like 115/75. That's kind of your gold standard. So above and below that, 5 beats or whatever is fine. For waking heart rate, I'm looking at somewhere like in the low to mid 50s is pretty good. HRV is fine. The problem is, we've kind of standardized our stuff on the Polar H10 heart rate strap, and then Elite HRV as being the application. But it's kind of a pain in the ass for clients, because even, like, we specialize in training other personal trainers, and a lot of those guys, they've got like 5 or 6 days where they'll actually put on the heart rate strap and take the data, and then it just goes to shit real fast and they never do it again. So we're looking for other ways to measure that type of thing where you don't need any equipment. So we've been playing around with HRV for training. I just don't know. They don't actually give an HRV, so you kind of have to figure things out using other data, and I just haven't figured it out yet. But I also do blood glucose, so I've got a glucometer, and I take my glucose every morning. So yeah, there's a ton. Like, within 5 minutes of me waking up, I've taken like 8 biometrics.
Yeah. And what for blood glucose? What are you sort of aiming for with your waking?
Based on the research, I'm looking around like 4.7, 4.8 or below. So just depending. I personally, I feel best around 4.4, 4.5. If it gets much below that, I start feeling hypo. I know we've got clients that feel really good at like 3.8. They just don't seem to need that much. But you just got to measure it and see where you feel the best. But the majority of the research that you'll see out there, when they look at, like, with the ranges, I think the range is like 3.7 to 5.7 or something like that. And what they found is, once you start getting above about 4.8, your predisposition to getting cardiovascular disease or diabetes goes up exponentially the more above 4.8 you get. So that's kind of what we look at.
Well, that makes sense. So we're drawing to the end of the interview, but I've got a couple of rapid fire questions. They don't have to be rapid fire answers. You can take as long as you want. Okay. But just a series of questions. So first one is what's your all-time favorite training book or self-help book, something that's, I guess, shaped you and your career?
Okay, I'll give you two. And the first one I think should be a must read for everyone is Charles Poliquin's Poliquin Principles. Like, if you haven't read that, if you don't have a copy that looks like it's been through hell and back, I seriously question your ability to be a good trainer, because, like, I remember I had a copy that just looked like it had been beaten and drawn and quartered and all that. And back when they only had one edition of it and you couldn't buy a new one, and man, I just completely destroyed that. And I firmly believe that should be one of the top books that people read. I think if you really want to get into the science of training, you got to read Super Training, and you got to read it like 500 times so you actually understand it. So that's Mel Siff's Super Training. And then kind of off, not training, but something I think everybody should read is the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It's a fantasy, if you like wizards and shit like that, which that's the type of stuff that I read, you'd really like it. But there's a lot of philosophy underlying in it, and there's a lot of objectivism, which I'm a big fan of. So basically, teaching people how to fucking help themselves instead of thinking that other people need to help them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a good answer. I haven't heard that one before. Next, any favorite movies?
Ooh, Deadpool.
Deadpool is a pretty funny.
Absolutely, Deadpool. That's my spirit animal, man. Like he's me. I'm the Deadpool of the fitness industry.
Yeah, well, I can equate the two of you together. It's an easy link. Do you have any quotes that you'd say on a daily basis? Don't necessarily have to be from someone else, but is there a certain phrase or thing that you'd say to your students or to people around you on a daily basis?
Oh man, there's so many. Yeah, I mean, one of the ones I've been using a lot lately that I really like is keep things simple until they need to be complex. Like in an industry that wants to try to overcomplicate things to sell you full of a lot of bullshit, just keep things fundamentally very basic and simple and hammer those basics really well. And you won't have to get too complex with things until later, right? So that's one. There's one from that book I just talked about, the Sword of Truth series. It's the Wizard's First Rule, which the Wizard's First Rule says that people are stupid, right? And when I say that, it sounds so bad, but when you explain it further, it makes sense. Like, people are stupid. People want to believe things, that they want to believe things are true because they fear that they're untrue.
Yeah.
Right. So and you see this a lot in our industry where you've got young trainers that flock to these. There's a whole new era of educators, or want to be educators, that were never students. They just started teaching people, but they don't really have any experience, and they don't have a portfolio, and they don't really know what they're talking about, but they latch on all these crazy ideas. And young people who are, typically very gullible and naive will latch on to these ideas, and they latch on to these educators, and that's what they start to follow. And it's something that I think that we've got to put it into, because it's not doing anything really positive for our industry. And we need to get back to like really sound, solid science.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic answer. Now, last question: if you could give yourself advice when you first started out working in the industry, what would the advice be to yourself?
Ooh, stop being a douchebag. That's what I would tell myself. I'd be like, you know what? I would. There's a lot of stuff I would change and a lot of stuff I wouldn't change. Like, my desire to speak out against the dumb shit in the industry. I've always been like that. And I would go back in time and say, don't ever let that go, because like not a lot of people have the courage to speak out. So that's something that sets you a bit apart, is the fact that you're willing to stick your fucking neck out, even if you get your head chopped off. So I would definitely tell myself to keep that up. But what I would do is I'd go back in time and say, be more empathetic, really give a shit about your clients and stop being such a fucking idiot. Like, Mary Muffintop doesn't need to do Milo Sarcev fucking giant sets and shit. Like, what she needs to do is she needs you to fucking understand what she's going through and tell her how to eat properly, and in a way that isn't fucking inconvenient, and something she can actually do, and give her a training program she actually enjoys, so she stays with you forever and ever. That type of thing. That's the shit I would give myself, is the same shit I tell our students now, is give a shit about your clients. You don't know everything. There are people out there much smarter than you, so stop being an idiot. And just go out there and help as many people as you can. Don't give a fuck about money. Just help people. Like, that's what you really need to focus on. If you just spend a long time helping a lot of people, you're going to get everything you want out of life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's very true. What's in store for the next 12 months for you and Muscle Nerds?
Oh my God. I wish I could tell you that I had 12 months playing my PlayStation.
Oh, 6 months or 3 months.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that I had 12 months of playing God of War and trying to finish that. But the truth of the matter is, God, Zoe and I are taking our first ever holiday. We're going to Thailand July 11th for like a week and a half.
Yeah,
which is crazy because we've never actually like gone somewhere that wasn't tied into work.
Yeah.
So we've got that, and then I go to Ireland, the Irish Strength Institute. I've got a couple of talks at their symposium. Then I'm in London in August for a couple of our seminars. Then I'm in Chicago after that for a seminar of ours. Then I'll probably go see my parents and go back to Texas to get some barbecue.
Yeah.
Then I'll come home to Brisbane. Then I go back to America and Canada in August or October for Swiss and some seminars. So,
yeah.
And then, so then it's like looking at 2019, like what's going on? Where do we have to be?
Yeah, sounds like a crazy schedule. Now, finally, where can people get in contact with you and find out more about Muscle Nerds and what you're doing?
So we've got our website, which is pretty shitty, but we're working on it. I say that in every podcast, and we never make it any better. But it's there. It's there. It's musclenerds.net. We're also on the good old Facebook. So you can find us there. Muscle Nerds. We have a forum that's not very active, but Muscle Nerds Inc. We're on Instagram. You can search me on Instagram. Luke Leaman, Zoe Knight, Isaac Davidson. You can also do our Muscle Nerds page on there is Muscle Nerds _health. And that's where we post a lot of our social media stuff. And we're terrible at that, man. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I don't understand how people can be so good on social media. I just assume that if you're really good on social media, you're not actually doing that much business. So that's the only thing that's the only thing I reckon, because these guys are on social media all fucking day. And I'm like, I don't know how you have time to do this stuff, because I got too much shit to do. So, but we throw up as much stuff as we have time for. And, if you really want to get into what we're doing, come to a seminar and find out what we're all about, man. Cause that's where we give you the good shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll have to get you out to Dubai at some stage and, get a seminar happening here.
I love Dubai. I would love to come as long as it's not in summer.
No.
I mean, I'm from Texas and it's hot in Texas, but nothing prepares you for Dubai in the summer.
No.
Holy crap.
Well, it's summer at the moment, or just the beginning of it, and it's 40 something degrees, and it beats you down outside. There's no other way to put it.
I remember the first time I went to Dubai, I had to teach biosig, and I walked into the hotel, and I didn't leave the hotel until it was time to go to the airport. Like I wouldn't even go outside to go to the pool, and I was in one of the lounges there, and one of the waiters kept opening the door to go outside, and every time he opened the door, it felt like I put my head in an oven, and I went, man, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on the opposite end, it has like 6 or 8 months of like beautiful sunshine, sort of between sort of 25 to 30 degrees. Which,
that's so good.
Which I enjoy. But yeah, it's definitely summer's a tough one.
Yeah, like in Brizzy right now, it's you wake up, it's like 8 or 9 in the morning, so it's a bit chilly. But by 11 o'clock, it's like 18, 19 to 20. So it's like the best time of the year here right now. It's so good. But in the summertime, it's like 4,000% humidity and 34 degrees. So it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, Luke, for agreeing to come on the podcast. It's been a great conversation, picked up many things, and no doubt that the listeners will pick up just as many things as I have.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Luke is a very entertaining character and offered a lot in this interview. I encourage everyone to connect with him online. He posts great online content on a weekly basis. You can find the relevant links to his social media accounts on my website at hulk-strength.com. Please hit the subscribe button to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play so you can be updated for the very next episode. Plus, if you'd like some of my free online training resources, subscribe to my email list at hulk-strength.com. I have a number of free documents for goal setting, nutrition, and training programs. Also, don't forget, if you want 25% off your next MYPROTEIN order for supplements, training apparel, or equipment, they can be also found in the show notes of this podcast or on my website. Until next time, stay strong.